This, is the only invention I have left. How about you? I lost all of mine. Well, hey guys, did somebody say inventions? What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series Target exclusive More Than Meets the Eye Devastation Wheeljack, which is my first ever look at this Wheeljack mold in specific. In the previous review, we've taken a look at the Devastation Sideswipe, which is basically a reuse of an older mold from 2019. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at Wheeljack, which I believe is also a reuse of an old mold from 2019. I believe this figure has also seen a similar amount of repaints throughout the years. Comment down below if you have any. As mentioned in the previous review, I never had the opportunity of playing Transformers Devastation, nor do I really want to play Devastation anytime soon, but I'll still collect the Studio Series figures. After all, they are pretty cool. I like them. Also, much like Sideswipe, I kind of wanted to have this figure to see how he is. I am aware that, according to the leaked listings, there's going to be an official Studio Series 86 Wheeljack, which I believe might be a brand new mold. I don't know about that. I'm probably going to have to double check. I'm also unsure if this remold is going to be next year or in 2027. But all I know is that we're getting a brand new G1 Wheeljack mold in the Studio Series 86 line. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, but until that figure comes, in the meantime, we're going to take a look at this figure, but before we do that, we're going to take a look at the packaging. But before we take a look at this figure's packaging, this video's Bible verse is taken from Psalm chapter 107, verse 29, and it reads, "He calms the storm so that its waves are still." With that being said, let's take a quick look at the packaging. On the front of the packaging, you get this nice artwork of Devastation Wheeljack in his robot mode and alt mode. The rest of the packaging is all words, names, and logos. Same thing for the top. On the left side of the packaging is a more zoomed in look to Wheeljack. On the right side of the packaging is an extension to the artwork from the front. And on the back of the packaging, you get a little info of what you get inside, along with the top left at the back of the box showing a picture of what Wheeljack looks like in the game. Anyways, that should be it for the packaging. Now moving back to the figure. So starting off, the painting and sculpting is pretty good. But if there's one thing I forgot to mention, I don't know if this figure is a direct repack of the other Wheeljack used in that Legacy Autobot 5-pack from, I think it was last year. All I'm gonna say is that it looks strikingly similar. Only with a slight smidge of cell shade or trying to look like cell shade, this figure's cell shading just doesn't work. If y'all thought Sideswipe was bad, this guy's worse. It's okay. At least he still looks cartoony. Aside from the usual white and dark gray, there's a little bit of light gray. Of course, some blue. There's also a few green and red stripes. There's also a little bit of light silver. The wheels have a different shade of dark gray. And then, of course, there is a different shade of blue for the eyes, which you can barely see. Also, in terms of details, the head sculpt looks nice. Everything else, of course, does consist of the G1 blockiness, although I do find the arms to look a little flat. I guess you could say the same thing for the legs. In terms of kibble, there is a backpack, which I believe is accurate, although I'm not sure if the kibble bits on the hands are accurate. In terms of kibble, the legs look okay. And then for QC, for my copy, the joints are not too tight or not too loose. However, I'm not sure what's going on over here. When transforming this figure, you have to move the legs out a bit, but thankfully they're tabbed in nice and secure, which is a good thing. You don't want them randomly opening out back and forth because the tab is not strong enough to hold the leg together. I've had figures that have this problem, and it kind of sucks. So yeah, the quality is all good. Moving on to accessories, starting off with his primary gun. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of the plain light gray used for the gun. But anyways, here he is equipped with his gun. And much like Sideswipe, this figure also happens to have two slots on the side of the arms for weapon storage. And if that wasn't similar enough, there's also a slot on this figure's back, much like Sideswipe, which could also be used for weapon storage. Also, the legs happen to have some slots for some reason. For the second accessory, is this supposed to be a missile launcher? I believe this smaller accessory appropriately fits onto the left side of the shoulder. You can still have it on the right if you want. Of course, you can have this figure holding the accessory with his hand. And then one more thing to point out, Was this supposed to be a barrel of some gun or something? Ooh, we're adding a little gunsmith system from Call of Duty onto our figures accessories now, are we, Hasbro? How about you hook up with Activision to make another game like the good old days? Moving on to articulation, ball joint at the head. The white thing underneath the head also moves up and down. I don't know if that counts. The shoulder can shift up and down. Full rotation at the arm. Bend at the shoulder. Bicep swivel. Bend at the elbow. Wrist swivel. Waist swivel. The legs can spread. The legs can move forward and backwards. Thigh swivel. Bend at the knee. And for the foot, what is all of this? What is going on here? It can move up and down, that's for sure, and rock from side to side. But wait, you can also... What? Anyways, let's just wrap it up for articulation. Now moving on to size comparison. Bumblebee movie Wheeljack, Rise of the Beasts Wheeljack, Dark of the Moon Wheeljack, just call him Q. Devastation Optimus, the Decepticon Ground Soldier, the Decepticon Elite Seeker, my most recently reviewed Sideswipe, and now moving on to a plethora of G1-ish Autobots that I own. Here he is next to Bumblebee, Cliffjumper, Baron, RC, Warpath, Prowl, Jazz, Cup, Blur, Hot Rod, Ironhide, Ratchet, Preceptor, Blaster, Springer, Optimus Prime, Grimlock, Slag, Sludge, Snarl, Swoop, Ultra Magnus, and lastly, here he is next to the rest of the Studio Series Devastation figures. Notice that the only one who isn't a reuse of an older mold is Optimus Prime. Speaking of which, I believe the only other Devastation figure we're getting next year would be Bumblebee, which if I had to assume is probably just going to be a reuse of the 86 Bumblebee, or maybe, just maybe, might be its own mold, which is very unlikely. Anyways, be sure to leave a comment down below which character from Transformers Devastation you would like to see in the Studio Series next. Also, be sure to leave a comment down below which Studio Series Devastation figure out of all 5 of them do you like the most. And now, let's get down to transformation. Starting off, go ahead and fold in these panels. Bring the arms up, straighten them out. Bring this down, bring the hand up. The arm should look like this. Same thing for the other arm. Bring the front chest piece outward. Bring the head inwards. And then make sure you bring this whole panel down. Rotate the top half of the body 180. Go ahead and bring the legs down for now. Bring the foot down. Make sure that it tabs in onto the rest of the leg. Untab the whitened section. Make sure you leave it out in a way where you have enough space to bring this blue piece up. Then go ahead and slide all of this in like so. Once you've done the same thing for the other side, you can go ahead and close the 2 legs together and then bring this whole section up. For the arms, you're going to shift them backwards, make sure that they close in like so, and then go ahead and collapse this whole part of the arm onto the side. Same thing for the other arm. And here you have Devastation Wheeljack in his alt mode. And yeah, this is a really nice looking alt mode. It looks nice and sleek. The spoiler kind of looks a little off. But hey, at least everything tabs in together nice and smooth, unlike Sideswipe's alt mode and transformation. Also, the whole rotate one of the halves of the body 180 degrees during the transformation kind of reminds me of something similar to Sideswipe's transformation. Which makes me wonder if the designers at Hasbro borrowed similar engineerings when designing the two. Well, anyways, for weapon storage, the supposed missile launcher goes on top of the car, and the gun goes on the back. Here's what Wheeljack looks like with both of his accessories stored onto the car. Also, here's what the alt mode looks like with the accessories positions switched. And yeah, that's all I gotta say for alt mode. Can't really think of anything else to say. For a brief comparison, here he is next to the Bumblebee movie Wheeljack's alt mode, Pablo's van. Here he is next to Q's nice looking blue Mercedes. And then here they all are together. Coming to think about it, I'm curious to see how the new Studio Series 86 Wheeljack's alt mode will look alongside the other alt modes. If I had to guess, it might quite possibly be smaller than this guy's alt mode right here. Because, in case you haven't noticed, alt modes have kind of gotten smaller and smaller throughout the years, so I could quite possibly see that happening with the new Studio Series 86 Wheeljack. Anyways, be sure to leave a comment down below which alt mode out of the 4 Wheeljack alt modes out here strikes you the most. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I have to say for the Transformers Studio Series Target exclusive More Than Meets the Eye Deluxe Class Devastation Wheeljack. Overall, if you haven't picked up this mold yet, then I definitely recommend you pick this one up. Especially if you don't want to spend like what, $100, $150, $200 on the multi-pack for this guy. Because this figure and that figure from the multi-pack are basically the same thing. I think. If you're looking to pick him up, he's available over at Target. But if I were you, I'd probably head over to the actual stores instead of picking him up on the app because let's just say you'll spend like $10 more if you pick him up from the app when compared to just, picking him up from the store. All you have to do is just spend taxes instead of taxes and shipping. Just check your targets. Although, just a friendly reminder here that some stores may have him and some stores may not. Anyways, aside from that, I await the release of the 86 Wheeljack, which hopefully is its own mold. As if I didn't bring this up like 3, 4, 5 times this review. I just hope it's not the dead version. Anyways, be sure to leave a comment down below what you guys' thoughts are of this figure. Do you like him? Are you going to pick him up? Do you not like him? Are you not going to pick him up? And if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another upload, let me know how I did in this review video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And that should pretty much be it. Thank you very much for watching, and God bless. Teo!